Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I have with me another special guest. This is FighterComplex number 7. Some of you guys already know who he is. He's another Dominican American YouTuber. And today, we're going to be talking about whether Dominican men and women are faithful and just about relationships in general with Dominicans. So some of you guys already know I did a video on both of these topics a while ago. I did a video on whether Dominican men are faithful, as well as a video on whether Dominican women are faithful. So this is going to be kind of like a combined part 2 of both subjects. So, FighterComplex, I'm assuming you've had some type of amorous relationships or at least some type of interaction with Dominican women in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I lived in Dominican Republic for a few years. I'm from Dykeman, which is a very Dominican, like huge Dominican community in New York in Manhattan. And where I live at now, I live in Connecticut. There's a lot of Hispanics. And there's been a few Dominican women I've dealt with. So yeah, throughout my life, I've dealt with Dominican women all the time. So.
Okay, so I'm sure to everyone listening, regardless of whether you're Dominican or not, it's very possible that you've heard certain stereotypes or whatever, particularly when it comes to the men. And I can say from personal experience that while growing up, there are a lot of things that I've heard, but that I've also seen and observed. So a little part of me, even though I've, dealt with Dominican men before, there's always been a little bit of reservation because of the things that you hear and the things that you see. And let me start by saying that nothing that I say is meant to generalize all Dominican men. Of course, there are good Dominican men out there, just like there's bad ones. Okay. But
Right.
it's like when you hear stereotypes and you see something happen enough times, you begin to think maybe there's some truth to it. So let me start by saying, Dominican men have a lot of good qualities. I think Dominican men are very hardworking. A lot of them are family men and they're, very affectionate and things like that. But I think the number one stereotype that Dominican men have is that y'all are basically like dogs, and that y'all just cheat and have side families and side babies. And a little bit of me sometimes believes that a little bit. Not all men, all Dominican men, of course, but I've seen it enough times that sometimes I'm like, dang, do Dominican men even know how to be faithful? But anyway, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, there is a notion that many different women have of Dominican men, and is that we're ladies' men. So there's white girls. I've heard it from black girls, other Latinas, especially other Latinas. They say they speak on Latinas of other different nationalities. When they speak on Dominicans, they're like, oh man, now mi mai me dice ten cuidado con dominicano, or they always tell me like, oh, you Dominican? Oh hell no, like I remember there's a city right outside of New York, Stamford, Connecticut, and there's a lot of Hispanic and black people there, and there's a thing every Thursday night in the summertime. They have a thing called Thursday Night Live, and there'll be all these like different type of bars, but they have like predominantly like very Hispanic crowd, and this would be like Central Americans and whatnot. And I remember I'm single, I'm young, and I'm with a group of friends, and I'm like, oh okay, look at the little mommies coming. So I go up and I approach one of them, and at first she's kind of like not responsive, kind of like trying to dodge me. And at first I'm thinking, oh, maybe because she thinks I'm black. Not her being racist, just that she has a preference. So I feel like maybe she was kind of ignoring me. And then I started speaking to her in Spanish, and she was like, "Oh," she kind of like turned around, and kind of caught her attention.
Yeah.
She couldn't realize I knew Spanish, and she's like, "Where you from? ¿De dónde eres?" And I told her, "Oh, Dominicano." She's like, "Oh, no, you guys are the worst."
Damn.
Yo, he said that in English.
Mm.
All of a sudden, she speaks English now, and she walked off. So we always had that stereotype, Dominican men,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
yeah, they're real. I do feel like that's a stereotype that's kind of true. It's kind of true. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the culture. Like that's the culture. I mean,
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes, it is. That's why it's like, as much as I don't want to generalize Dominican men, I mean, at the end of the day, I think cheating and all that, I mean, that's just a man. Well, it's just a human thing because women cheat too, but particularly men. That's just a man thing, period, regardless of race, culture, nationality. You know, you're going to find men that cheat everywhere. But yeah, I can't help but feel like it's just such a normal thing in Dominican culture at times because, and I don't know if maybe nowadays it's as normalized or if it's just as bad, but you know, there's like Dominican women that I've known back in DR that everybody knew that their husband had another woman and she knew and nobody did nothing about it.
Right.
You know, they had
Right.
kids with the side woman. They will sometimes stay at their side woman's house. And again, everybody knew. But the wife just kind of accepted it, which I don't know if it's because I think part of it might also be because they were being like taken care of by the man, like financially. Maybe they didn't have the option to leave. But
True,
yeah,
true.
I mean, I have sometimes felt like it's become like normalized in some cases. And it just kind of carries on through the generations.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I have my father. My father has what 5, 6 different baby mothers.
Mm.
5, 6 different baby mothers. One of my uncles, uh, he has 3 kids in total, but 2 of his kids, they're basically like twins, but not twins because they were born within like 2 months apart from each other.
Oh,
From
damn.
different women.
2 pregnant at the
From
same time?
different women.
Wow.
Yeah, 2 women at the same time. Yeah, I don't know. So my big brother, you know, he was just known for that. You know, my big brother was known for just having so many girlfriends, and uh, every week he would bring a new girl over, you know, as a study buddy. You know what I mean? And,
right.
yeah, so I don't know that I was kind of like groomed into that, you know, growing up. I was kind of groomed into that. So
okay, that's what I was going to ask you. So since you grew up seeing that, did that affect you and kind of make you be that way?
I mean, yeah, I mean, definitely, like, especially my big brother. That's what really affected me because I used to see him like, you know, all the girls wanted him, or he always had a new girl. He always had a bunch of girlfriends. I remember one time, I went to DR for vacation, and I went to go see him. And he that day, I guess one of his boys let him ride a dirt bike, let him use the dirt bike. And this dude, right, my brother took me, and this is all in the same town. He took me like to 4 or 5 different girls back to back. He's like, all right, I'm about to take you this one girl. And they all look different, different flavors, like, and he's like, yo, don't say nothing. I mean, don't say nothing. Don't tell him about the other girl. Like, just be quiet.
Yeah.
So I'm riding. I'm in, you know, in the back of the dirt bike with him. I mean, taking me. I was young, and I was probably like 13. And I remember at every house that I would go to, they would give me something, como una batida, right, which is like a milkshake kind of.
Yeah.
So each house I go to, they give me like a little snack or something, because you know, in Dominican culture, that's how it is. When you go to someone's house, they always want, oh, you want some coffee, you want a sandwich, like they always trying to be very, you know, they try to have a lot of hospitality.
Yeah.
You know, be very kind, welcoming, right?
Yeah.
So each house I would go to, they would give me like a little meal. By the time he was like, yo, it was nighttime. It was getting dark. He was like, this is my real girlfriend. Like, this is the woman I love. Like, don't say nothing to her. Da da da. So I got there and I met the grandmother. I mean the mom. I met the girl. So that by this time she was gonna bring me another milkshake, batida, right? And I'm like, yo, I'm like stuck, like in my head, like, yo, this nigga got too many girlfriends. Like every house I go to, they giving me food. Like, so that was a funny story I'll never be able to forget, man.
Wow.
Yeah, so my brother, he was definitely a player. Like he was definitely a player.
So he went to all the side ones first until he got to the main one, basically at the end.
Right. Right.
So did you ever ask him why? Like, why all the girlfriends?
I mean, even at that young age, I can understand why. Because even though I was a little kid, I'm looking at him like, wow, okay, she's pretty. And then all right, we talk to her, bye, go to the other one. Okay, she's pretty. Like, so I can understand why he was doing it, because different flavors, like, I don't know, like, so I gotta be honest.
Based off of their physical attractiveness, basically.
Right. I mean, yeah, because I didn't know them, you know. So I could only guess that that's the reason my brother liked them, because they look good. I mean,
see, when I see guys like that, I always wonder though, isn't that a lot of like extra work, having to keep up with all the lies and not having one find out about the other? Like, I feel like that's a lot of work.
Yeah, that's a headache, and that could be very time consuming. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you got to remember, at that time he was very young, so my brother was probably, I don't know, like 24, 25. So, you know, he's young, you know, your hormones running. You're like your physical prime, really. When you're in the mid-20s, for a man, it's like his physical prime. So you just out there like a young lion, you know. So even at that young age, I could understand why he was doing it. I didn't even question it. Like, I could understand, like, okay, she's pretty. Like, shit, I'd like for her to be my friend too. Like, I understand his motives, I mean. But now, like, once you get older, you realize, man, this shit is a headache. Dealing with so many women, like, that's a headache. Yeah. It has to be a headache. Like,
I would think so.
So he did it.
All of the questioning, where you at? Why you ain't call me back? Why you ain't picking up? When you coming over here? Yeah. I don't know. I would assume as a man, it'd be a headache. I mean, even if it's a woman, if I were to be juggling multiple dudes, I feel like that would be a headache for me. You know, like sometimes like, you know, people be greedy out here.
Remember, we're talking about mid to early 20s.
Okay.
But then when you get on your later years, like now I'm 27, I'm like, man, I'm for that. I have to focus on other things. I don't have time to focus on women. Like, that's not my priority. My priority is, you know, improving myself financially. So I can't really. The women are always going to be there, no matter what.
True.
Especially if you're doing good financially. So that's what I really emphasize on.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, when you say it from like the young age perspective, that makes sense. But the thing is, I be seeing old ass Dominican men still doing this. Men that have been married for 30, 40 years and they still out here running around like they some youngins. That's what be killing me. Like, I know somebody that my dad knows. He recently just had a baby. He's in his 60s. You know, his side joint had the baby. I'm like, come on, y'all. Like, this is too much. Like, why are you a senior citizen still out here bouncing around and having babies?
With the side.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she's a young girl. I think the side joint is like in her 30s or something. And plus, you know, yeah, so, you know, she probably saw, oh, he got money, blah, blah, blah. So I think that was kind of the nature of that whole relationship. But her and the wife be getting into it. I'm like, see, don't nobody got time for all this. So something we brought up earlier is when we were talking is like the difference between how native born Dominican men and like Dominican American guys kind of hit on girls or how they approach women. And I think we agreed that there's definitely a difference in the way in which they approach us. And, you know, I think that's definitely true because I've had, you know, Dominican guys that are in DR hit me up. They've either found me through YouTube or whatever. They find my Facebook and they just be messaging me. But even when I've been in DR, I feel like the way, like their mat game is different. I feel like, in a way, they're a bit more direct, maybe. And I feel like they move very fast.
Something I noticed personally, I feel like Dominican men, they take more how can I say this, like a romantic route, or they try to be very tender and loving, you know. Like they can disguise themselves as this gentleman, like Prince Charming, you know. He'll bring you flowers, like, I mean, like, hey, beautiful, how you doing? Like, and you're like, oh my God, like this guy's in love with me. Like, he will have you thinking that.
Yeah, they get like yeah, that's how they be, man.
Right, so he'll grab you. He just grab you. He's like, I know we just started talking, but I really like you, and I think about you a lot, and I hope we can continue this friendship. Like, you know, like they try to be so like romantic and gushy, and I feel like that's where a lot of women get caught up with Dominican men because they have the gift of gab. They could talk to one.
They know how to sell the dream or whatever very well.
Right.
So, okay, so you being Dominican American, how do you feel like y'all are different? Or do you think y'all are very different from the native ones when it comes to how you approach women?
I mean, I feel like I have a combination too because, you know, I'm American and I came from New York. So I'm like aggressive but calm though. Like, if I see a girl I like or I think she looked pretty, I walk up to her and with confidence. And I try to, you know, lay back, cool with it, kind of like Dominican men are. You know, they try to be real smooth with it, and just real direct. And if she says no, then I won't get disrespectful. I'm like, all right, no problem, love. I walk away. That's it. And I feel like, for the most part, Dominican men are like that too. Like, even if a woman rejects him, he's not gonna just disrespect her. He'll be like, all right, cool, no problem, and he'll walk away and he'll take that L. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I don't think they'll get disrespectful, but one difference I've noticed is that the men over there, they're a lot more persistent though. So even if you kind of like, I'm really feeling you, but they'll just keep on going and messaging you and trying to talk to you. Like, I've had a few where it's like that, like they just don't stop. You know? So I feel like in that way, I don't know, they're not as prideful maybe, so they don't care to continue pursuing you, you know?
Right.
Yeah, so like I said, that's one
no vergüenza, there's no shame.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah, I understand. I understand what you're saying.
One thing I've noticed too. And then going back to the guys over there, you have the Sanky Pankis, you know, at the resorts and like the beach areas trying to hook up with the foreign women. Right. I remember seeing what I thought to be some of them, because to be honest, I haven't been to the resorts in DR many times. I've only been to like 3 or 4, but I remember when I went to the one, I think it was in Puerto Plata, maybe. Like I would see like the workers, the Dominican workers, and it'd be all like, you know, giggling up and cozying up with the white women and the European women, and you know, I'm sure some of them were like living the fantasy with them, and you know, some of them they get lucky and La Suiza, and they, they marry them and they bring them over here. But that's
Yeah, I mean, let's be real, because a lot of those European women or them, those white women, when they come over to Dior, those men are so different compared to the men in their country, the white men they deal with. So
yeah.
then they dealing with somebody, probably, he got a little color to him. He probably got a little seasoning to him. So, and he's a street dude. He knows how to, talk to a girl.
Yeah.
And, they kind of fall in love with that. Like, oh man, like this guy has so much swag. Like, he's so different. So I could see why, a lot of women fall for Dominican guys. Because women, believe it, a lot of women love Dominican men. Whether it's white, black, they love us. I don't know why, they just love us.
Yeah.
And another form was not really sinky panky, but in a way it is. A lot of women, like you said, do bring them dudes to other countries like Spain or America. Like, I know dudes in my family, they met an American woman, and she just brought the dude over to America. He living good now.
Yeah.
Because she had, yeah, my uncle. My uncle. I mean, there was she's an African American, and she comes from a very prestigious family, in Chicago, and she went out there for vacation, and I guess they bumped into each other. He don't know a lick of English. She ain't know nothing of Spanish, and they kicked it off, and they had this big ass wedding, like
Yeah.
4 years ago, or something like that. And they happy ever after. And he brought his kid. So yeah. So he's living the dream. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's even for people that are here, it's very common for them to get spouses in DR and bring them over here. I mean, even my own cousins, the majority of them, almost all of them that live here in Virginia, have brought their spouses over from DR. So it's a very common thing. But I feel like, I don't know. I still have that thing on the back of my mind. Like, if I were to talk to a guy down there, like, do you really want me for me, or you just want a visa? Like, you trying to get papers? Is that what you want? That's always like I don't know, a thing I would have in the back of my mind, because you never know. And
yeah,
being American, you're already like a target in that sense, and people want to try to talk to you. So here in the States, what type of women would you say are most attracted to you? Being Dominican or whatever.
I say black women.
Okay.
I say African American women. A lot of Caribbean women, like from the non-speaking, Spanish-speaking ones, like Jamaican, a lot of Jamaican, and a lot of Haitian women. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So
I guess a lot of times they feel like I'm black or African American, or
that's what I was gonna ask you. Do they like
I'm African
American?
Yeah, a lot of times they feel like I'm like mixed, or like, am I like straight up Jamaican, or am I Jamaican and Puerto Rican, or I always hear these different mixtures, but yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And so once they find out you're Dominican, do you still get that reaction like, oh crap, you're Dominican, you're the worst, or y'all are the worst?
I don't know. Like, a lot of women, they feel like I'm black, and then when they when they ask me like, what are you? And I say, black, right? And I say, nah, I'm Dominican. And you're like, you straight up Dominican? I'm like, yeah, 100%. Like, they're like, oh. I'm like, oh, what you mean? Oh, like, is that a bad thing? Like, what you mean? Like, what changed? What changed in 10 seconds? Just 10 seconds ago, you thought I was just shit. Like, now because I'm Dominican, like, so I don't know why they say, oh, like, what's the stigma? I don't know.
Gotcha.
So I don't know. Right.
Yeah. So let's shift gears a little bit now and talk about the women, because Dominican women also have their little stereotypes as well, be they here or over there. Of course, we have the choppies, right? And some guys like to say that, Dominican women are gold diggers. Then you have some that feel like Dominican women can be very conceited. Um, but then you have some that group Dominican women into the stereotype of what many believe Latin women are in general, which is that, they're more submissive and home trained or whatever, the more domestic. So sometimes people say that as well, which I mean isn't entirely false, but at the same time, I don't feel like Dominican women are super submissive either. Like, I definitely don't think we are. So, in your past relationships or interactions with Dominican women or Dominican American girls, like, what is there anything you've noticed with them? Or like, did they fit any of those stereotypes?
Yeah, like women, Dominican women, I feel can be very domestic. Like they, when it comes like to them tasks, like uh, cleaning or cleaning or cooking and stuff like that, they won't hesitate to do that for you. Or if you get sick and they want to like take care of you, bring you some soup, go get you some medicine. Like they're not hesitant. Like you don't really have to like beg them to do it. Like they naturally want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Even the most toxic Dominican girl I dealt with, she still had those motherly wife type qualities
Yeah.
that would make you want to like fall in love with her. Like, oh shit, well she's fucking crazy, but she treats me good.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. It's a weird
Yeah.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's one of the things I do have to be careful with is when I go to DR because a lot of them women they can smell it on you that you're American.
Mm-hmm.
So they might want to trap you. They might want to rob you. Like you never know. They might set you up. So yeah, it's dangerous. It could be very dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I've seen or heard of certain situations like that where guys from over here went to DR, started messing with these women. Unbeknownst to them, they had their ulterior motives, and
Mhm.
things didn't exactly turn out in their favor. But
Right.
again, the same way you can't generalize all Dominican men, you can't generalize all Dominican women. And I mean, in some cases, they are really just looking for a genuine relationship, even if you're from here.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but I mean, as far as like being submissive and the whole attitude thing, I mean, at the end of the day, we Caribbean, like it's just a whole thing we got going on.
Yeah,
Like, you know,
that's something I gotta keep it real. Every Dominican woman I know, yo, they always like, I mean, their man is their man, is their king. Like she'll do whatever, like they cook, clean, rub his feet, all that. Like
mm-hmm.
Dominican women, that's something that's a positive that they bring.
Yeah.
That's why it's kind of hard not to like them.
Yeah.
Because they bring that extra spice to the relationship. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we definitely have our, good qualities. It just seems that lately, though, people keep bringing up the chappies, and it's like they're somehow becoming the face of Dominican women. And I'm like, yo, like, this is just a fragment of Dominican women. Like, this is not
right,
all of them,
right, nah, man. Because a lot of the women, a lot of the girls, when I was in school, they were very, focused on their education and going to college and getting trades. So, Dominican Republic has a lot of professional women with
Mm-hmm.
degrees.
Yeah.
So like the Dominican women are very goal orientated. So that's not all of them that are choppies or gold diggers. But
Yeah.
like any country you go, you're gonna find these street chicks or street guys,
Yeah.
and that's those prostitutes or strippers or whatever. They going down an ugly path. It's gonna be a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
I mean, how long can you really do that? I mean, until your body start looking crazy.
Right. Yeah. I know people that unfortunately decide to go down that route. I feel like it's very like an in the moment type of thinking. It's like you're not really thinking long term when you do that type of stuff. You're just looking for a way to make money just quick on the spot. But you don't think about the wear and tear it's going to have on your body, or when you 10, 15, 20 years from now, like you still going to be doing this? Like, what are you going to fall back on?
Not making it an excuse for it, but we do have to remember DR is a poor country, so a lot of them girls, they probably don't have a choice. I mean, easiest way.
Yeah.
So that's something else to look at too.
It seems though like DR is becoming a very popular destination for people looking for love. Not just there, but I mean here in the States too. I don't know. At least in the areas where there's a lot of them, it seems like, I don't know, people are becoming more interested in finding out what we're about. But the stereotypes still persist. So trying to prove that you don't reflect the stereotype can be a little difficult, because people will judge you and say you're a certain way once they find out you're Dominican without even like knowing you, or just even based on how you look. Like I had somebody tell me I look like a choppy, I was like, yeah, I know I look like a choppy. But huh?
No, you don't. So who was that person that said that?
Somebody on YouTube.
Was he Dominican?
No.
Yeah, because I mean, like you could tell. It's like you could almost smell a choppy a mile away. The clothing. The the ratchet look. The ghetto look.
Yeah.
So the way they speak, you could tell like what they're wearing. Yeah, and most of the time, if she got anything done, the titties, ass, you already know. You already know.
Yeah. But there's definitely some red flags, some signs you can look out for, to know who you're dealing with. And it's funny because guys will try to wife these chicks up, like try to wife them up, and it's like, and then later they find out she's not faithful. It's like, are you surprised though? Like you didn't know what you was getting yourself into, who you was messing with.
You belong to the streets. I mean,
yeah. So it's like people like that. I mean, you can't expect them to be faithful, man.
Right.
That's pretty funny though when it comes to them. But all in all, though, I think there's certain things you gotta look out for in a partner. And Dominican people are no different. I think you just have to have certain standards, certain, whether it be, physical qualities or personality attributes. Just like inspect the person, like just vet them out. I don't know. Don't just jump into stuff. Or it's very easy to get caught up in the fling though, especially if you're like vacationing in DR and it's like, just the whole environment and the weather
Right.
and the beach and the music. It's so easy to get caught up in that whole thing. And it's like, oh my God, I'm in love. And the whole time
very
choppy or funky.
And Dominican women are very sexual, very sexy. Like their sex appeal is out the roof. Like so, yeah. It's all in the eyes. Don't look them in the
eyes. Come on, man. Oh my goodness. I say the same
And
for some of the guys.
the women are very freaky. Dominican women are very freaky.
Mm,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I guess
I mean,
so.
that's a good thing, though.
Huh?
I mean, it's a good thing as long as she's not doing that with everyone.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But
They're passionate lovers. I'll say that.
yeah. Yeah, it's funny though. You say don't look them in the eye. I feel that way with the guys sometimes because man, the guys on there like they will stare you down just like with this intense gaze. Like they like when they spot you, oh, it's like like they got their eye on you,
So
And
you just went to DR a few months ago, right?
yeah, I was there in December.
So what was that like with the guys? Like the approach. How many times would the guys approach you? And
Well, well, I was only there for a week this time, so I didn't experience it as much as I would. But um well, there was one in particular when I was in Barahona. We stayed at a hotel over there and we went to the little like resort. It was kind of like a resort type of thing, but to a little bar and the bartender man, oh my God. They're just so intense. They're so intense. Like, I don't even know how to explain. Like, he would just be staring me down so hard. And, like, my sister was there sitting at the bar and he kept asking her about me. And, I chatted with him a little bit because, he was serving me drinks, but, he wanted to, like, meet me up afterwards and he wanted to get my number and all this stuff. I was like, dude, like, I can't. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with him, but nah.
that's all Dominican men are, yo. They're like, oh shit. I was like, oh, I'm on that. Like that's a fact, yo. When they want something, they go 100 miles per hour trying to get that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're very persistent. Very persistent.
Right.
They
So
don't.
do you find that a good thing or that's bad? Like, do you find that very negative?
I would only find it negative if I'm just 0% interested. Like, I'm just not feeling you, then it can be annoying. But if it were somebody where I could maybe see it, like, okay, he kind of cute, and I guess I would see the persistence as something more positive because I mean that would show me, okay, this guy is really interested, because some guys may shoot their shot, but I don't know if it's that they're too shy or I don't know, they don't really keep going, so I was like, okay, well, I guess he wasn't that interested. So, but again, it depends. It depends on the guy because you don't want that type of attention from a guy that you just find to be unattractive and just dusty. If he cute and stuff, you gonna welcome it.
So comparing Dominican men, I say just Dominican men, period, versus white and or black or other Latin men. What can you say that's different? What can you differentiate and say what's the pros and the cons of a Dominican man versus all the other men?
Damn. Well, can't really compare to white guys because I've never been with a white guy.
You don't really roll that way.
Yeah, I'm not into white American guys. A white Latino is a little different, but yeah, I've never dated a white American guy, and they don't approach me anyways. So that's
Okay.
dead.
It works out perfect.
So, same with Asian men, just never happened. Now, so the two groups that I've mainly kind of gone back and forth between have been either Hispanic, or African American. So the difference between the two, I would say it's more in how they approach you, but like the things that they say. I don't know. It's just Dominican guys just have a certain way that they flirt that is just different. I'm not quite sure how to say it, but it's like their sweet talk level is like on 1,000, you know, and it sometimes it does come off like okay, you're trying too hard, but you know, I don't know. There's at least with the Dominican guys that I've dealt with versus the African American ones that I've dealt with, I felt like the African American ones were actually a little more subtle. Like,
Okay. I can see that. They're more laid back.
huh?
They're more laid back with it.
A little bit, not entirely, but a little bit. But then again, there's been a few that were like pressed. But besides them, though, like I said, their approach is just a little different. So at least I don't know from the ones that I've dealt with. But the difference though is with an African American guy. I feel like they try to impress me by showing more interest in like Dominican stuff, or trying to speak a little Spanish to me, or like, oh, I know about this artist, or I know this song, and blah blah blah. So it's more like the way in which they try to impress you is just going to be different. And for black guys, it's trying to show.
Like, oh, I know about your culture. Like, I know about your culture type.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's kind of their approach with me. So yeah, that's I would say the main differences that I've noticed.
So what's the pros? Because I know the cons that you have for Dominican men was that you feel like they're, players, they're cheaters or whatever, right? So
not all of them, but don't get mad. Any Dominicans that are listening, don't get mad.
Yeah, but that's you said that's a negative, something negative that you can say if there's anything. So what's the positives that you can say about Dominican men?
Well, like I said earlier, I mean, I think they do have certain like values that I find to be good, whether it be family values, or they don't shy away from doing their role as a man. We've been talking a lot lately about the roles of men and women and being masculine, being feminine, and I feel like Dominican men are definitely very masculine in that sense. Like they take care of what's theirs. Son celoso con su mujer. Like they take care of theirs and they let you know this is mine.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I find that to be a good thing. And a lot of them do not mind having stay-at-home wives or stay-at-home moms. If they can afford it, they'll do it. So I mean, that's one thing that I think is definitely a big plus to being with a Dominican man. And I think there's always just something about being with someone from your same culture. It's just a certain level of understanding that you're not gonna necessarily have with somebody of a different culture.
Right. Yeah. It's like something.
Is what it is.
Was that term? What's understood doesn't have to be said or something like that. What is this?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, I get what you're trying to say. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Basically, so.
Yeah, like certain cultural references. I know you ain't gotta explain it. You just both know.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely pros to it too. Like I said, I don't want to paint it like, oh my God, all Dominican men are dogs and stuff like that, because they're definitely not. And like I said, because I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say you're a dog. I mean, I know you might be, I don't know, but I'm not going to say that you are just because you're Dominican, because that wouldn't be fair.
Right.
And then same with the women. I don't think we can sit here and say that all Dominican women, they just want money and this and that, because that's not true.
Right.
You're going to find men and women on both sides. So you just got to judge people individually.
I do feel like Dominican women do nag, though.
I mean, maybe a little
nag.
Huh? Maybe a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, nag. Oh, my God. Hey, it's all right.
Yeah, I mean, we do sometimes. We do. I can't lie. We can be
y'all nag, but
sometimes.
Y'all be nagging while cooking. Y'all be cooking, nagging.
Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, I've seen that happen. I can't lie. Yeah, I mean, when we don't like something, we definitely let you know. Definitely let you know.
Just ignore them, and they're still gonna cook you that bomb ass meal, and then they're gonna cut it with you later. Just
This is
shut
true.
up. Don't talk back. Just ignore them, and you'll be good. You'll be alright.
Oh my
Just
god.
ignore 'em.
I mean,
That's my
sometimes
piece
you
of
do
it.
just need to vent sometimes, you know. And yeah, like don't argue back. Just let us be right. That's it. Let us be right. You good. Even when we wrong, let us be right.
Yeah, I learned the hard way. I learned
Huh?
the hard way. I learned the hard way. I had a Dominican mother. Well, I have a Dominican mother, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yes, yes. That's funny though. I mean, even looking at my parents, my dad sometimes is like he just kind of rolls his eyes at my mom sometimes. He's like, "Oh my gosh, why you bugging?" But I think that's just part of our nature anyway. You know.
Right? Yeah, there's always gonna be. It's never gonna be perfect. I mean, but I mean, I think that's what makes it relationships good because they're not perfect. You know.
Mm. I mean, that's also how I feel like that's just how you kind of grow together with a person anyway, through learning their imperfections and helping them work through it. I feel like that kind of, I don't know, I guess brings you closer in a way, you know? So, when it comes to dating Dominicans, I know some of my subscribers have asked me about that as well. So, you're going to have your good and bad in every group. And although some of the stereotypes that Dominicans have, they can be true in some cases, but you just gotta learn how to weed the bad ones out, weed the bad guys out and the bad women out, and you'll be fine. At the end of the day, I mean, Dominican people in general, I think, we're a very loving, happy, caring people. So I think regardless, you will more likely than not have a good experience, hopefully, being with a Dominican. So everyone, that was it for this video. FighterComplex, thanks for coming on. We should definitely do this again sometime or whenever I have another live,
Definitely.
you can always hop on.
Yep.
So,
Definitely.
everyone watching, definitely subscribe to Fighter Compass's channel. I will leave the link to his channel in the description box and in my pinned comments. Leave your thoughts and opinions down below, whether you've dated Dominicans before, men or women, what your experiences have been. Let us know, and we'll check you guys in the next one. Bye.
All right. Peace.